The NCAA College World Series is a sporting spectacle that has become one of the most popular events in all of sport. In 1993, College World Series fans consistently filled an expanded Rosenblatt Stadium that now seated over 20,000, bringing record crowds to the tournament. Attendance records were set for a single session, over 20,500, for the championship game, over 20,200, and for the entire championship series, 173,296 fans packed the house in Omaha. And they were treated to one of the most memorable series in history. The thrills of an incredible string of late-inning comebacks, plus a record-tying barrage of home runs, combined for an exhilarating experience for all in attendance. The 9-day extravaganza of college baseball's elite stands tall as a determining factor in the success of a collegiate program. Each year, only the best make it to this final destination, and only the best of the best make it back again. It is these programs that set the benchmark for all of college baseball.
It's the 1993 College World Series Highlight Show.
This highlight show is brought to you by Wilson, maker of the official ball for NCAA baseball championships. The 47th NCAA College World Series commenced with the top-seeded Texas A&M Aggies taking on the ace-seeded Kansas Jayhawks. This first game staged an intriguing matchup between a great-hitting Kansas club, which boasted a .320 team batting average, against the nation's top left-handed pitcher, Texas A&M junior Jeff Granger. The Aggies gave Granger a quick one-run lead in the first inning when first baseman John Curl wrapped a single to left field, scoring Robert Harris. Granger held the Hawks to just 2 hits in the first 4 innings before third baseman Brent Wilhelm led off the KU fifth with a smash off the wall. Freshman Brian Turney laced a single past the leaping Robert Lewis at third to score Wilhelm from second. The run tied the game and pumped a little life into the ace-seeded Jayhawks. An inning later, the Aggie offensive leader, senior Brian Thomas, provided the game's big hit, a solo shot to the deepest part of Rosenblatt Stadium, giving his team a 2-1 lead and a burst of energy. Later in the inning, catcher Rob Trimble gave the Aggies a 2-run lead with a single past the diving Jeff Berblinger that scored Curl from second. The Aggies added 2 runs in the 8th, and sophomore reliever Chris Clemens closed out the 9th for a 5-1 Texas A&M triumph. Game 2 pitted the 4th-seeded 49ers of Long Beach State against the 5th-seeded LSU Tigers in a confrontation of 2 premier pitchers. The 49ers were unleashing college baseball's winningest pitcher of 1993, right-hander Daniel Choi, who had posted a 16-1 record. The Tigers countered with their crafty left-hander, Mike Sorotka, who had a 10-5 record, including 2 brilliant complete game victories as the South Regional's most outstanding player. The 2 hurlers staged a grueling duel through 5 shutout innings, allowing only 3 hits from the 2 teams combined. Finally, in the 6th, catcher Brian Watley got the 49ers rolling with a double down the left field line. Then broke the scoring drought with a little help from the Tigers.
Sorotka stretches, delivers, he shows bunt and does, pops it to the mound. Sorotka will go to third, and he threw it away. That'll be an error, and the run will score.
In the top of the 7th, Choi was again cruising with 2 outs, but designated hitter Mike Neal found the wall in right center. And after catcher Adrian Antonini walked on a full count, senior Jim Greeley stepped up to keep the two-out rally going.
Here's the stretch by Choi, and the pitch to Greeley is swung on a long fly ball, very deep left. It could be, and it is gone! Jim Greeley with a 3-run home run. And the Tigers lead it 3-1.
In the 8th, the 49ers' first-team All-American was beginning to stagger, and after another walk, LSU shortstop Russ Johnson delivered the knockout blow. The two-run blast gave the explosive Tigers a 5-1 lead, and Choi was done for the day. But the LSU bats were not done. In the 9th, Jim Greeley once again energized the Tiger crowd with a two-run bullet over the left field wall. The owner of only one home run the entire regular season, the red-hot outfielder pounded 2 in the regionals and now became just the 16th player in College World Series history to notch 2 in a single game. Sorotka, meanwhile, kept mowing down the 49ers. With 9 strikeouts to his credit, he completed this first-round mission by pitching a 3-hit gem. In Game 3, it was the 7th-seeded Shockers who faced the 2nd-seeded Sun Devils. Wichita State's Gene Stevenson called Arizona State the most talented team in the country. ASU grabbed a quick 1-0 lead in the first on Antone Williamson's infield hit. The Shockers returned to favor in the third when Carl Hall's infield grounder scored Tommy Tilma to tie the game. Then power-hitting first baseman Toby Smith sent a long drive to the center field wall for a 2-run double, giving Wichita State a 3-1 advantage. From there, it was a magnificent pitching duel between Sun Devil ace Mark Basello, who struck out 8 Wichita batters, and Shocker starter Mike Brantley, who fanned 7 from Arizona State's heavy-hitting lineup in what would be one of his best pitching performances ever. With 1 on and 1 out in the 7th, Brantley gave way to All-America reliever Darren Dreifert. The hard-throwing right-hander began his usual assault on the opposition with 90-mile-an-hour heat. He wilted the Sun Devils down to the final out of the 9th inning, and despite giving up a walk, worked an 0-2 count on number 9 hitter Sean Tyler.
Here's the pitch. There's a drive to right field. That ball is well hit. Good one, good distance, goodbye. A home run for Tyler, and we're tied with 2 out of the 9th inning.
The 188 hitter had his first home run of the year and a thrill of a lifetime. As the drama stretched into the 11th inning, Dreifert got a chance for redemption, this time as a hitter. Facing Barcelo, Dreifert set the stage for a Hollywood-like script.
A 3-2 pitch hit high in the air to left. Good wood, good distance, goodbye. A home run for Dreifert on a 3-2 pitch to lead off the 11th inning.
It was only fitting for this Wichita native to play the starring role and then close the curtain on the Sun Devils. Two schools with long histories in the College World Series, the 3rd-seeded Texas Longhorns and the 6th-seeded Oklahoma State Cowboys, squared off in Game 4. This first-round matchup featured Texas' Brooks Kieschnick, college baseball's Player of the Year, who would pitch against Gary Ward's disciplined Oklahoma State hitters. The Longhorns burst out of the gate in the bottom of the first when sophomore Jerry Taylor powered a Jake Benz pitch just over the wall with 2 men on base for a 3-0 Texas lead. Kieschnick and the Longhorns received a clear message from the Cowboys. And Peter Prodanov opened the top of the second with a long blast to left field, making the score 3-1 and delivering the message that the Cowboys would not be shaken by the Longhorns' explosive first inning. Texas extended their lead to 4-1 in the third, and again it was Taylor who came through by ripping a run-scoring single for his 4th RBI. Again, OSU answered, this time in a big way. Four singles, a walk, and a wild pitch tied the game. Then, just when Kieschnick thought he was out of the inning with a pickoff, catcher Joel Williamson dropped the ball at home, and Joe Wallace scored the go-ahead run for the Cowboys. But in the fashion of a Western shootout, Texas tied the game at 5-5 in the fifth. The seesaw battle then took another wild turn in the seventh. Steve Heinrich found himself picked off at second base, but a bad throw from Oklahoma State catcher Joe Wallace allowed the Longhorn Jr. to race for home with a go-ahead run. It was 6-5 Texas. Though Kieschnick had struggled on the mound and had only his fastball working on this night, this fierce competitor took over down the stretch. This Longhorn proved to be a real bull. With 2 on and 2 out in the ninth, he talked Coach Gustafson out of a pitching change, wanting the final charge for himself, and he got it. His career-high 11th strikeout, and incredibly, it came on his 172nd pitch. This was not a pretty game, but a game of toughness, and nobody proved tougher than Brooks Kieschnick. In the first elimination game of the '93 College World Series, the Kansas Jayhawks and Long Beach State 49ers would battle for the right to stay alive. Kansas freshman Jamie Splittorff, son of Kansas City Royals Hall of Fame pitcher Paul Splittorff, who some say already owns a Major League curveball, faced Long Beach State junior Mike Fontana, who had won 6 consecutive games. After 4.5 innings, the scoreless game was ready for a wake-up call. It was provided by Kansas senior catcher Jeff Niemeyer, who led off the Jayhawk fifth with a rocket into the left field stands for KU's first hit and a 1-0 lead. The 49ers got a wake-up call in the top of the sixth. With Jeff Leifer on first, Long Beach State senior catcher Brian Watley hit a drive that escaped the diving glove of Rory Tarquinio, and Leifer scored the tying run. Another attempt at a great play by the Jayhawks ended with 2 more 49er runs when shortstop Dan Rude's wild throw off Cody Cradle's grounder scored Watley and Brian Smith. The 49ers added a 4th run in the 7th when junior Kevin Curtis singled up the middle to score John Swanson from third. The Beach had a 3-run lead, and Fontana on the mound feeling strong. He shut down the Jayhawks' normally active bats, allowing just 1 hit other than the home run. Kansas stay at the College World Series was brief, but it still was a milestone season for Dave Bingham and the Jayhawks. Curtis then put the finishing touches on the Hawks in the 9th with a 2-run shot that gave Long Beach State a 6-1 victory. For the 49ers, it was survival and renewed momentum for a run at the championship. Another great pitching matchup was on tap for Game 6. Undefeated Texas A&M lefty Trey Moore, a sophomore who brought in a perfect 12-0 record, against LSU's National Co-Freshman of the Year, Brett Laxton, who was 11-1 with a 1.88 earned run average. 3 scoreless innings showed signs of a smooth pitcher's duel. But in the 4th, the Aggies grabbed a 2-0 lead on RBI singles from third baseman Lee Fedora, who had missed the first game after a batting practice bad hop grounder required 11 stitches in his mouth, then by junior Billy Harlan to score Fedora. After LSU tied the game in the bottom of the fourth at 2, the Aggies hit high gear in the fifth.
Here's the windup in the pitch. Swung on, that is laced into deep left center field. Nobody's going to catch this one. It bounces one hop off the wall. Rios having trouble with it, but into second with a stand-up double is Harris. 0-1 the count here. Here's the stretch of the pitch. Swung on a hard ground ball that is into center field for a base hit, and the Aggies have regained the lead as they rake Langston to start the fifth inning. Left-handed batter, the stretch by Langston, the pitch, and he hit him right in the top of the hill. He squared around the bunt, and Hunt hit him right in the helmet. And the pitch to the plate, swung on the ground ball into right field for a base hit. It is a 4-2 ball game. 1-1 the count. Here's the stretch and the pitch. Ground ball to Johnson. Can't get it into left field. It's a 5-2 ball game.
They sent 12 batters to the plate and scored 5 runs to go ahead 7-2. But in the bottom of the inning, the Tigers came back once again. After Texas A&M walked in a run, Harry Berrios provided the key hit with a 2-run single to make it 7-5. Then one of 5 Texas A&M errors let the Tigers scratch to within 1 after 5 innings. The two teams traded unearned runs, and in the 8th, the LSU comeback continued. Senior Armando Rios gave LSU its first lead of the game with a blooper that scored Adrian Antonini, making it 9-8. The Tigers then loaded the bases for one of the nation's most dangerous hitters, Todd Walker. The LSU contingent knew their All-American was due and were hopeful this would be the spot for his first hit of the series.
Here's the pitch. Fly ball to left field. Pretty well hit. Hurry up. Get out of here. It's way back. It is gone. It is a grand slam home run for Walker. Holy cow.
Walker's first hit proved to be the knockout blow for the Tigers and just the shot they needed to try and duplicate their 91 championship team efforts. The reality of Game 7 was that one of the country's best teams, either the Arizona State Sun Devils or the Oklahoma State Cowboys, would see their season come to an end. Both teams suffered hard-fought one-run losses in first-round action, and this game would prove to be another hotly contested, down-to-the-wire battle. The Cowboys jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the first when Sean Hugo's routine fly ball fell in for a hit thanks to the soggy grass, and Ernesto Rivera scored. The Sun Devils then charged in front in the second when freshman Cody McKay lifted a drive to right that blew out of the ballpark behind a gusty wind for a 2-run homer. Oklahoma State tied the score at 2 before Arizona State called on a long ball again to retake the lead in the fifth. Sean Tyler, who shocked Wichita State with his dramatic 9th-inning homer 2 nights earlier, drilled his second of the series for a 3-2 Sun Devil lead. In the 6th, things heated up another notch. Paul LaDuca, one of the nation's top hitters with a .443 average, but who was hitless thus far in Omaha, smacked a single that scored Doug Newstrom for a 4-2 lead. But the collision between Newstrom and Oklahoma State catcher Joe Wallace triggered tempers, and after the dugouts cleared, both Newstrom and Wallace were ejected. When things settled down, the Cowboys started a comeback. An unearned run in the Oklahoma State 6th narrowed the deficit to 1, and then in the bottom of the 8th, pinch hitter Hunter Triplett came through with a game-tying single, bringing home Jason Heath. Then the Cowboys' offensive leader, senior Ernesto Rivera, capped the rally by lacing a single to left, scoring Thad Chadwick with a go-ahead run. Now it was up to reliever Jay Hogue, who had already escaped bases-loaded jams in the 7th and 8th. In the 9th, he closed the door on the number 2 seeded Sun Devils, and the Cowboys would get their first win in the '93 College World Series. Game 8 featured the 2 remaining undefeated teams, Wichita State and Texas. Round 2 of the winner's bracket is regarded as a key game by most coaches because the victors are just 1 win away from the championship game, while the losers need to win 3. The wind was still blowing out at Rosenblatt, and 2 home runs by the Longhorns put them in control.
The line by Wyckoff, and the 1-0 pitch. High drive, fairly deep in left field. Tillman giving it a run. It is going to be out of here.
The first, a solo shot by red-hot sophomore Jerry Taylor in the 2nd inning, and the second, a 2-run blast by senior Joel Williamson in the 5th frame.
Here's the pitch and a drive into left center. This is deep. This is going to be way out of here. And Texas leads it now by the score of 6-1.
Coupled with a 3-run 4th, the long balls gave Texas a commanding 6-1 lead, and the Lone Star flag was flying high. But the Shockers still had 4 innings left. First-round hero Darren Dreifert started the uphill climb for Wichita State in the bottom of the 6th.
2-0, hit hard toward right center. That's way back there toward the gap. It is gone. Darren Dreifert with his 11th home run in 11 postseason games, and Wichita State pulls a little closer as it is now 6-3.
Then in the 8th, Stevenson's crew scratched out 1 run on a hit and 3 walks. With a score 6-4 and the bases still loaded, freshman Casey Blake came up with a big hit.
Pitch on the way. Fastball grounded right side and through. A base hit. Here's 1 run. Here comes Dreifert around third. The throw to the plate is not nearly in time. The Shockers have tied it up.
Another walk loaded the bases again, and a shaken Longhorn club couldn't handle the pressure.
On the pitch to Hall. Bouncing ball up the middle. This should do it. Short booted it. Shockers lead.
Tim Harkrider's error allowed the Shockers to go ahead 7-6. And with relief extraordinaire Jamie Bluma waiting in the wings, the Shockers looked on with confidence.
Now Bluma 1 strike away with 2 outs in the 9th. The 1-2 pitch, ground ball to second. Joey Jackson waits on it, throws to first. Shockers win.
If there were any non-believers left after their first-round triumph, surely there were none now. The top-seeded Aggies of Texas A&M and 4th-seeded 49ers of Long Beach State had both defeated Kansas and lost to LSU in the first 2 rounds. Now they met head-to-head to determine who advanced and who went home. The 49ers' 2 senior co-captains combined for the game's first run when Cody Cradle knocked a 2-strike pitch to center to drive in Rudy Rodriguez in the 3rd inning. In the bottom of the inning, the Aggies' All-Southwest Conference shortstop, Robert Harris, led off by tagging Daniel Choi, who was pitching with just 3 days rest, for a solo home run. In the 4th, 49er designated hitter Jeff Leifer returned to favor by wrapping a Kelly Wunsch pitch around the right field foul pole, getting the 1-run advantage back for Long Beach State. As the game moved to the 7th, it again was a 49ers co-captain duo combining to extend the lead. With Rodriguez on second after Falskin's sacrifice bunt, Cradle found the corner in right. And the Big West champs were up 3-1. Then the Aggies' defensive problems of the College World Series continued. A miscue at home plate, which allowed Cradle to score, may have been the play that deflated the Texas A&M squad. That was followed with a wild pitch from Wunsch that allowed Eric Martins to score the 49ers' 5th run. Long Beach State added a run to increase the lead to 6-1 for Daniel Choi. College baseball's winningest pitcher was working on win number 17. After getting some great defensive help from his teammates, he received excellent relief help from Long Beach State closer Gabe Gonzalez to earn a 6-2 49er victory. The top 2 seeds in the tournament were now gone, but for the 49ers, the momentum they brought to Omaha had returned after 2 big wins. Game 10 offered a rematch of Game 4 between the Texas Longhorns and Oklahoma State Cowboys, an emotional seesaw contest that Texas had won 6-5. These 2 baseball powerhouses had waged many battles in the past, and with elimination from the '93 College World Series facing the loser, none was bigger than this one. The Longhorns stampeded to a 5-0 lead early in the game. With Joel Williamson on first after being hit by a pitch, Tim Harkrider led the charge with a 2-run blast over the right field wall in the 2nd inning. Stephen Larkin's run-scoring double ignited a 2-run third, capped by Tim Harkrider's sacrifice fly that put Texas up 4-0. But with the come-from-behind rallies that had marked the tournament so far and the mentality of the Cowboy Ball Club, this game was far from over. Texas added another run in the fourth to post a 5-run lead. Then Oklahoma State finally broke the ice in the sixth on Hunter Triplett's RBI single to right center field that scored Sean Hugo from second. The Cowboys had started to poke their way back, 1 run at a time. Then in the seventh, 2 walks put 2 on with 1 out, and Roberto Lopez rounded a single past third to score Jason Heath, making it 5-2. Hugo followed with a double down the left field line to score Ernesto Rivera, and it was 5-3. Then Peter Prodanov, who had 3 hits in the first game against Texas, tied it with a clutch single that scored both Lopez and Hugo. Another dramatic comeback in the '93 College World Series was in the making. The intensity was magnified in the bottom of the 8th when the Longhorns loaded the bases on 3 walks with 2 outs. A balk was called on Cowboy reliever Rob Geico, and as the go-ahead run crossed the plate for Texas, the sparks flew about the controversial call. Coach Ward argued to no avail, and later in the inning, Coach Tom Holliday was ejected for arguing the balk call. But he used the opportunity to fire up the Cowboys. Heading to the 9th, the motivated Cowboys had just 3 outs to come back again. And they would have to do it against College Player of the Year, Brooks Kieschnick, the hero of the first meeting, who was called on to pitch the 9th despite having thrown 172 pitches just 3 days earlier. Kieschnick gets Lopez to fly out to deep center field. Now it was up to the hot-hitting Sean Hugo. And he wasted no time. On the second pitch, he launched a rocket off the right field foul pole to tie the game at 6. This was college baseball at its best. The Cowboys, however, considered their retaliation only halfway complete. A strikeout and walk brought Hunter Triplett, who had produced Oklahoma State's first run back in the 6th, to the plate with 2 outs, and he promptly doubles off the wall in right center to score pinch runner David Pruitt from first. Oklahoma State had fought back to take a 7-6 lead. Even by Oklahoma State standards, this was remarkable. Longhorns had their final shot in the bottom of the 9th, and with 2 out and a tying run on second base, Geico faced Steve Heinrich with Kieschnick desperately waiting on the on-deck circle. Victory would not escape the Cowboys on this night, and the comeback was complete. 3 one-run games ended an emotional roller coaster ride for the Longhorns, while the Cowboys lived to play another day. LSU and Long Beach State squared off in Game 11, showing shadows of the long ball hitting championship team of 1991. The LSU Tigers were undefeated and just 1 win away from a return trip to the title game. The Long Beach State 49ers, whose contrasting style was to scratch away and manufacture runs, had erased an opening round loss with 2 convincing wins and now faced the task of beating LSU twice in order to reach Saturday's final. With a score tied 2-2 in the 5th, it was the 49ers who surprisingly went to the long ball to take the lead, as the scorching bat of Jeff Leifer crushed a 3-run homer for a 5-2 Long Beach State advantage. The Tigers didn't wait long to respond. In their next at-bat, LSU's series phenom Jim Greeley stroked a drive past a diving Kevin Curtis that brought Mike Neal around to score from first, and Greeley ended up with his first triple of the season. That made it 5-3, and the 49ers fell apart.
Goldstein stretches and delivers to the plate. Low in the dirt. Wow, pitch. Greeley's going to score from third. It's a 5-4 ball game. Here's the 1-0 to Rios. Swung on light base hit into left field. Jackson rounds third, and he is coming to the plate. Here's the throw. Not in time, and this game is tied. Gonzalez takes a deep breath, stretches, and delivers. Berrios grounds it to the shortstop. He will go to second on the fourth. Throw it away, and the Tigers lead. It goes into right field. 2-run score. Here's the stretch and the pitch. Neal takes it in the dirt. Berrios heads for second. There's the throw down. They got him hung up. He boots the ball, and the run will score, and Berrios is safe at second. And Long Beach State is coming apart at the seams here in the 6th inning.
It all added up to a 6-run outburst and an 8-5 LSU lead as the Tigers batted through the order. After the 49ers scored a run on a sacrifice fly in the 7th to pull within 2, Coach Skip Bertman opted to bring in ace Mike Sorotka in the bottom of the 8th. The left-hander was now trying to keep the Tigers from becoming another victim of the comeback series, in which 4 of the last 5 games have been decided with dramatic 8th or 9th inning comebacks. With 2 out and 1 on, pinch hitter Eddie Davis, a junior from New Orleans, made just his second plate appearance of the series.
2-1 the count. Here's the stretch and the pitch. Swung on, hit into center field. Well hit. Rios going back, way back, and that ball is gone. A 2-run home run over the center field wall, and this ball game is tied. That ball was hit 408 feet or better.
The 2-run smash tied the game at 8-8, and the 49ers were ecstatic. Next up was Kevin Curtis, and the junior outfielder did the improbable.
17 runs scored in the bottom of the 8th in this World Series. There's a fly ball to right field. Berrios is going over. That ball is hit pretty well, and the wind carries it out of here.
The 49ers were giving the Tigers a dose of their own medicine. Back-to-back homers, and Long Beach State had taken a 9-8 lead. Long Beach State added 1 more run in the game and its name to the growing list of contributors to the comeback series, and earned a right to claw with the Tigers again for a shot at the big show. The fiercest rivalry of the Midwest moved to Rosenblatt Stadium as Wichita State met Oklahoma State in Game 12. The two schools have been the kingpins of college baseball in Mid-America since Gene Stevenson and Gary Ward took over their respective programs in 1978. But never had the stakes been so high as in this College World Series confrontation. A Wichita State win and the Shockers were in the championship game. An Oklahoma State win and the two teams would meet again to decide who would advance. In the third, control problems by Oklahoma State starter Jake Benz put 2 runners on. Then, with 2 out, Darren Dreiford was intentionally walked. But the move backfired as Joey Jackson started a hit parade.
Here's the stretch. And the 1-0 to Jackson, and a line drive, fair ball, just inside the line, down toward the left field corner. 2 runs will score for sure. Dreiford being waved to third and then held up. It's a stand-up double for Joey Jackson, and Wichita State takes a 2-0 lead. The 0-1 on the way to Blake. Casey swings, drives it hard, right field, base hit, 1 run in for sure. Jackson being waved home. The throw from Jason Heath is way late, and the Shockers lead it 4-0. McCullough lines one up the middle for a base hit. That's going to score another run as Blake comes around third. Over to third base goes Tilma. The throw to the middle of the diamond, and Adam McCullough hits that ball as well as he's hit a ball in weeks.
After the 5-run explosion by the Shockers, the Cowboys slowly closed the gap, scoring a run in the third when Joe Wallace doubled off the wall and Childers walked. Then Ernesto Rivera brought Wallace home by slashing a shot past left fielder Tommy Tilma. After the Shockers scored a run in the 4th on a bases-loaded walk, the Cowboys continued their climb back in the 6th, starting with Sean Hugo's double. Then Hunter Triplett, batting .500 in the College World Series, stepped to the plate.
And a little hit off the handle into left field. Charging is Tilma, the runner being waved home. Tilma's throw is short and gets away from McCullough, and the other runner goes down to second base.
Jason Heath then placed a liner past a diving Richie Taylor to score a triplet, and Oklahoma State was within 3 at 6-3. As the game reached the 8th inning, the Rosenblatt crowd waited in anticipation of another miraculous comeback. But the Shockers made sure this game's 8th inning slam fest belonged to them. With the bases loaded via 2 walks and a hit batsman, cleanup hitter Toby Smith stroked a single to bring in Carl Hall for a 7-3 lead. Then, with 2 outs, freshman Casey Blake came up with a game-breaking blow.
1-0. Blake hits hard and over the third baseman, fair ball down toward the corner. 2 runs will score, and over to third base and being waved in is Joey Jackson. He is in there as the throw gets away from the catcher, and the Shockers score 3 times to lead it 10-3.
There would be no miracle comeback at Rosenblatt tonight. Reliever Jamie Bluma shut the door in the 9th, and the Shockers were on the way to their 3rd championship game berth in 6 years. The dogfight for the championship game berth had been a fierce one, and now Long Beach State and LSU would square off one final time in Game 13 for the right to meet Wichita State for the national title. Game 11's pinch hit hero, Eddie Davis, was inserted into the starting lineup, and in the top of the 1st, he picked up where he left off 2 nights earlier, launching a Mike Sorotka pitch with Eric Martins on base for a 2-run home run. That spotted 49ers starter Mike Fontana a 2-0 lead. But in the LSU second, All-America second baseman Todd Walker muscled up for his 2nd homer of the series.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and hit into center field. Pretty well hit. That's way back there, and it is gone! A home run!
Walker's solo shot cut Long Beach State's lead to 2-1. By the 6th, it was obvious this game was heading toward the same thrilling ending as so many other games of the '93 College World Series. 3 straight LSU singles, first by Armando Rios, then Russ Johnson, then Todd Walker's.
There's a base hit into right field. Rios scores, Johnson stops at second, and it is a 3-2 ball game, and Walker is hot as a pistol. He is 3 for 3 today.
An inning later, with Jason Williams on first, Armando Rios, an LSU hero in their 1991 championship series, took center stage again.
Long look at first, delivers to Rios, who hits it to right field. That's pretty well hit. Way back, get out of here. It is up against the wall. Williams rounds third. He will score, and Rios is in at second with a stand-up double, and this ball game is tied.
No one expected anything less from this do-or-die shootout, and how appropriate that the 2 teams take a 3-3 tie into the 9th. The 49ers put runners on first and second, needing only a hit from Brian Watley.
Here's the stretch by Sorotka. Here's the pitch, swung on a hard shot to Williams, right off his legs into left field. The run will score. That may be an error. It's chased down by Greeley in left field. It is a 4-3 ball game.
Instead of an inning-ending double play, it was LSU's 5th error of the game. After Rudy Rodriguez struck out, the number 9 hitter, Tim Falskin, looked to add some insurance.
Here's the windup of the 1-1. Squares the bunt and does. It is beautiful. Sorotka can't get it. He kicks it out of bounds, and a run scores, and everybody is safe. And is that not the signature of this ball game?
Watley was picked off third to end the rally, but the 49ers had gotten the job done. 2 runs for a 5-3 lead. Dave Snow's so-called dirtbags were just 3 outs away from the title game. The Tigers were on the ropes heading to the bottom of the 9th, but Adrian Antonini instilled a quick surge of confidence by leading off with a single. Antonini was lifted for pinch runner Ryan Huffman, and relief ace Gabe Gonzalez got Mark Stocco swinging. Then he walked Jason Williams to put 2 on and the game on the line for who else but Armando Rios.
Here's the stretch in the 1-1. Swung on and hit the left field. That's in the gap and way back there. And it is up against the bottom of the wall. Here comes 1 run. 2 runs will score. We're tied. And Rios is on at second base.
In this remarkable comeback series, it was only fitting that LSU had come back twice in this semifinal grudge match, and now, with 1 out and a winning run on second, stood on the threshold of the series' 9th come-from-behind triumph. A wild pitch moved Rios to third, and the 49ers elected to intentionally walk cleanup hitter Russ Johnson. That meant a possible inning-ending double play, But it also meant facing the ever-dangerous Todd Walker. It's the kind of situation All-America hitters love.
The stretch and the pitch. Swung on and into right field. Tigers win! Tigers win! Walker drives home Rios, and LSU will play for the national championship on Saturday.
Yet another dramatic moment in the '93 College World Series. For the second time in 3 years, the Tigers of LSU were headed for championship game day.
Here's the pitch. There's a drive to right field. That ball is well hit. Good one. Good distance. Goodbye. A home run for Tyler. And we're tied with 2 out of the 9th inning.
The stretch. There he goes. The pitch is swung and looped into left. That's trouble. It's in for a base hit. And the Tigers have the lead. 17 runs scored in the bottom of the 8th in this World Series. There's a fly ball to right field. Barrios is going. That ball is hit pretty well, and the wind carries it out of here.
After 8 days of grueling conflict between the nation's best, it was down to just 2. The march to the 1993 championship game had been an unforgettable one. The growth and popularity of college baseball has skyrocketed in recent years, and 2 schools that have been at the forefront of that thrust have been Wichita State and Louisiana State. It was those 2 powerhouses that had battled through the most thrilling College World Series of all time to reach the 1993 championship game. In 1989, Gene Stephenson's Shockers captured the national title. In 1991, Skip Bertman's Tigers won the championship with a victory over Wichita State. Now, 2 years later, the same teams were back for college baseball's premier showcase. The ball for the title game would be in the hands of 2 freshman pitchers, Wichita State's Travis Wyckoff and LSU's Brett Laxton, both honorable mention All-Americans. The title bout opened with Laxton striking out the first 2 Wichita State batters, showing that this composed freshman was ready for the challenge. Then, in the bottom of the first, LSU shortstop Russ Johnson drew a 2-out walk, bringing the red-hot Todd Walker to the plate.
Wyckoff to the belt, looks over to first. Here's the 1-2 delivery, swinging a high, deep drive to right. Going back on the warning track, and it is gone. A long home run for Todd Walker.
The amazing sophomore had given the Tigers exactly what they needed, a quick 2-0 lead. In the second, the Tigers added to their early lead. Walks to Jim Greeley and Adrian Antonini proved costly to Wyckoff as LSU third baseman Jason Williams singled sharply to left, scoring Greeley for a 3-0 Tiger lead. Knowing he couldn't fall behind much farther, Gene Stephenson was forced to bring in Darren Dryford much sooner than he wanted. His first opponent, LSU senior Armando Rios, lifted a fly ball that traveled just far enough to score Antonini from third, and it was 4-0. After an infield hit by Johnson that moved Rios over to third, Walker came through with his 3rd RBI of the game thanks to perfect placement of this blooper to left. The Tigers hadn't hit Dryford hard, but still managed to up their lead to 5-0. In the third, the Tigers had runners on second and third for Armando Rios.
0-1 delivery, swinging a base hit right up the middle. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score. The runner rounds second and holds, and LSU puts 2 on the board.
In a normal series, a 7-run lead after 3 innings might feel comfortable, but the excited LSU crowd had already witnessed 9 dramatic comebacks in the first 13 World Series games, 7 coming in the final 3 innings. The Shockers had always found a way to make things interesting down the stretch, but freshman sensation Brett Laxton proved to be too much for the Shockers. He struck out the side in the 6th to move his K count to 12. Laxton finished the 7th by blowing past cleanup hitter Toby Smith, putting the championship game record for strikeouts on the line, with Dryford stepping to the plate.
1-2 delivery to Dryford, and he just tied it. Struck him out with a high fastball. Dryford is gone, and that is number 15 for Brett Laxton.
In the 9th, Laxton went for strikeout number 16 against pinch hitter Tony Mills.
2-2 pitch. Here it comes. Strike 3 called. He got the record.
I think that Brett Laxton was a little bit too dominant today. His breaking ball was better than usual, and his fastball was very, very explosive. And I think that he overpowered a lot of people today. And in my mind, while it may not have appeared that way to other people, I think he probably could have pitched many more innings and nobody would have scored.
Ready to win their second national championship. They're a strike away. Fly ball to right field, ought to do it. Barrios reaches up, makes the catch, and the Tigers of LSU have won the national championship for the second time in 3 years, defeating Wichita State. Final score 8-0, and Irv Brown's dog pile's going on.
And I thought to myself that these kids probably deserved this more than any team I've ever had. They were believers, they visualized this, they really desired it, they really thought that they were worthy of this, and every day they made the wisest decisions they could to make sure that it came about.
You know, we've lost in every tournament we played in the postseason and still came back and won it all 3 times. And that takes so much guts and so much confidence in your own abilities and belief. And that's what this team has. And we really earned the national title this year. It wasn't really given to us. We definitely earned it this year.
I was just thinking all the good moments that I had here, all the opportunities that I had, winning the national championship twice. And I had a great time. I made so many friends, and I grew up a lot being here. But I also felt good about finishing because I finished the right way, winning the championship, being an all-tournament player, and I had a good time. So that's what really was important to me.
I think we showed today that you don't necessarily have to have the #1 draft picks to win, that you win on heart, you win on desire, you win on hard work. That's how you win championships. It's not, like I said, it's not the #1 draft picks that win you the national championships. It's them that get you there. But in order for you to win a national championship, you need to have luck, heart, and desire, and that's how you can win it.
LSU second baseman Todd Walker was named the tournament's most outstanding player. It had been a College World Series like none before, one with great emotion, thrilling comebacks, big-name teams, and record crowds. But through it all, one team stood supreme, Skip Bertman's LSU Tigers. For 1993, the throne was theirs.